Everybody, welcome to your online information session for the Health Terminology and Interoperability Standards Certificate Program. It's offered by the School of Health Information Science at the University of Victoria. It's an online information session about an online certificate program. We'll cover lots of the details as they come up. So we'll get started. Welcome. I'm really glad you're here. I will begin with the territorial acknowledgement. We acknowledge and respect the Lekwungen, that's the Songhees, Kosepsum, Esquimalt peoples on whose territory the university stands, and the Lekwungen and Wasanich peoples whose historical relationships with the land continue to this day. And the land in this case is the University of Victoria campus, which is shown in the picture below. The building in the middle of the image is our library, and lots of green space and trees. You can just see the First People's House on the lower left of your screen. So this land is known as the place up there in First Nations languages, and up there being from the perspective of the water you can see in the background. So it's just a good picture to use to illustrate that. So welcome. We're here to discuss the terminology and interoperability standards. We'll shorten it to HTIS if I need to repeat that. The title itself is descriptive, but a bit of a mouthful. We're going to talk today about what the program is about, and we're going to talk about why there are two streams for you to consider if you're thinking of joining the program. And regardless of which stream you take, how would it help your career? And we'll get some insights from those involved. We don't have any guests as such, but we will have some sort of vignettes and illustrations for you to describe, and also covering, you're not going to remember everything you hear in an information session like this, so we'll cover where you go to next to find out more information. All right, so in a nutshell, the certificate program will prepare you for your professional life, or will perhaps elevate your professional status by earning a certificate. It means you get extra letters at the end of your business card, should you happen to have one. The program will help train you in the area of health information standards and interoperability standards. There are two streams. There's a route for professionals to go through, and if you happen to have a baccalaureate degree, there is a graduate route you can go through as well. The course content is the same for both, but it just makes it more accessible to everybody to get through. And the result of going through a program like this, you get the certificate from us. So you've taken this, you've got your certificate. There is also a professional certificate. Say, Amy, the annotations seem to work. I have no idea how to switch them off. So if you have any questions, by the way, as we're going through, just either type them in the chat or simply turn your microphone on and say, hey, I got a question. And, I'm happy to do this in an agile way. So as I was saying, you get through your certificate program and you end up with our certificate, but you can also go to the Canadian Health Information, CHIMA it's called, and get the certificate with CTSS, and we'll describe that again in more detail. And you get that as a professional accreditation as well, or certification. Okay. Moving on, so the two streams, pardon me, the two streams are handled by two separate groups within the university. If you don't happen to have a bachelor's degree, then you can still get in. You would have to go through these Division of Continuing Studies, which is shown here on the left, and enter that way, and you would negotiate fee, and not negotiate, you would pay your fees through them, and then if you're accepted, enroll through them. If you happen to have a bachelor's degree and are eligible to get into the graduate stream, then you need to talk to the Faculty of Grad Studies to get in. So we have two separate pathways to get in, making sure everybody has the chance to earn that CTSS. Both streams lead to the CTSS. You become a Certified Terminology Standards Specialist, and this is a designation conferred by the Canadian College of Health Information Management. You may have heard of CHIMA, the Canadian Health Information Management Association. They are the same group. Okay, so you end up with this CTSS. There's an annual fee for that. They manage it themselves, and We'll supply you that. The way to get the CTSS currently, the only way to get the CTSS is to enroll and complete this program. There's no exam you have to take. You complete all your coursework with us, and then you get your professional accreditation. It isn't very much. It's about, I think it's less than 200 a year, and you get all the benefits. One of the big benefits you get in the by becoming a member of CHIMA, which you have to get the CTSS, is you end up access to their job board and their professional network within the organization. They have semi-annual conferences that are really well attended. I went to the one last year, and highly recommend it. They're a great organization. They've got some new marketing materials, which I quickly grabbed and shoved onto the slide deck here, extolling the virtues of the CTSS certification. They produced a short video, very short, tells you all about the college. And on their main page is a picture of Kelly Davidson. He has the CTSS. He went through the certificate program. He's marked it as G-Cert HTIS. There, Kelly's a nurse. He's also a PhD student within the school here as well. So he features quite prominently on their website. And we're happy about that. Good to see him there. Okay. Yeah. So I mentioned the other benefit, one of the tangible benefits, if you're looking for work in the area, is the CHIMA offers a job board. They posted one recently, a posting for a clinical coding specialist at Hamilton Health Services. That's over in Ontario. And so they'll do things like that. And so ads for positions like this that require the CTSS will definitely show up on CHIMA's website. Okay, just background information. We are the University of Victoria. We are not part of CHIMA. We're affiliated with them, but they are a separate organization. So let's talk quickly about the program. It's a program that consists of online courses. So you don't need to be present here at the University of Victoria to take these courses. They're all done online, and they're all done with the ability for you to engage with the coursework and the classes and the lectures, even though you're working full-time. We cater to that. So there's 4 courses in it. They're coded on the top here: health information standards, controlled terminology standards, health information exchange. And then those 3 courses, you take all the learnings from there and you end up at HINT 597, where you do a field project in health informatics. And we'll talk about potential topic areas, just to give you a flavor of what it is. Okay, these are all held online from 5 to 7. And yeah, move on from there. Sorry, I don't know. No, sorry, I was going to go. Let's talk a bit more detail here first. Sorry for jumping around. You begin with HINT 535, Health Information Standards. This is it's not quite a survey course, but it's a course that exposes you to many different kinds of standards. You want to learn more about ICD-10, LOINC, SNOMED CT are all covered. And it's a series of, it's delivered, we have an instructor for it. The instructor has a lot of guest lectures. The guest lecturers are industry professionals who work in standards, who write the standards, and who are heavily involved in their development. And they show up and tell you tales from the industry and the theory and the methods behind all of it. Okay, so in 535, will give you a broad overview. There's a lot of practical work in 535 where you'll get to use the standards and practice a bit of coding. It's not a course on coding; it's a course about coding. But you do get your hands-on experience with the material. Okay, and again, these are all delivered online. With respect to Pacific time, they're evening courses. They begin at 5 p.m. and they end at 7 p.m. generally. This is, of course, subject to change, but it hasn't changed in many years, and we're not expecting it to. So it means you can do your regular work, even if you're in BC, and then around 5 o'clock, you switch modes and you become a student for a few hours. And then during the week, you complete coursework, and that's how you get through HINT 535. Only one course is offered per term. HINT 535 is offered in the fall term, and the rest of them follow so sorry, hint 536 is offered in the spring term, that's January to March. And then both the final two courses are offered in the summer term, but they're not offered concurrently. You complete 537 first, and then you transition into 597, and the second part of the summer term is taken up with that course. So they're a bit more intensive, but it means as a result, all four courses are completed within a year, and you're done, ideally. So I see Dennis Lee is on the call. I'd like to ask Dennis to come forward and just quickly, briefly rather, not quickly, take your time, but talk about hint 536. He's the course that Dennis teaches. So we have one of the profs here for you.
Okay, thank you, Simon. My name is Dennis Lee. I'm an assistant professor here at the School of Health Information Science, and I've been teaching 536 for the past seven years. So when you come in January next year, that will be the 8th time I'm teaching the course. So there are 12 different topics that we go through, from looking at some of the criteria on how you select standards, what are the development life cycles of standards, how you do subset development, mapping, technical requirements, data retrieval, quality assurance. So we have a whole slew of topics. We have 8 different activities. All of them are really hands-on and practical. So you'll be able to learn how to use different tools and how to apply them. And we also have 2 assignments on creating a business case on using a terminology usually in your workplace. So that is something that's quite practical. And then also developing an implementation plan. So the 8 activities will help you in your 2 assignments. And over the course of the summer, we're going to add additional topics. Simon and I are doing a rework of some of our coursework. So we're adding additional assignments, adding additional activities, or enhancing our activities as well to make them even more practical and also up to date with the new tools that have been developed over the past couple of years as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in the class.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lively group for sure. That's followed on in the summer session by hint 537, focusing on health information exchange. Health information exchange is it's all about interoperability. If you have your health information stored in one institution, how do you get the health information transferred to another in a way that's understandable and usable and efficient as well? And that is the key application. It's why we have standards. It's one of the reasons why we have standards. There are many. So we focus on health information exchange, and we have guest speakers from CIHI, the Canadian Institute for Health Information. We have guests from Ontario Health, from Canada Health Infoway. They all congregate here throughout the year on all these courses and help bring the latest information to you. It's also a great group from Ontario Health that make an appearance. And the really good thing about that is that the people that come and deliver much of the guest lecturing portions of these courses are people from industry, right? So they're not only the ones that are training you, but they exemplify the roles that once you finish this program and end up in industry, you can be them. And should that happen, sure, you're welcome to come back here and close the circle and contribute yourself. And that's actually happened, which is wonderful. We get this nice closed loop for the whole program. Anyway, in addition to the health information exchange, there is an intensive, it's usually a 3-day long virtual workshop that happens in May, where you get together for a series of days and focus on the learning. And it's one of the ways we can get 2 courses kind of shoved into one term. We don't want to extend your stay in the program, and capping it to a year is actually quite efficient for everyone's time as well, because I know everyone's busy. All right, so you finished hint 537. You've got a good grounding in terminology standards. You have a grounding in all kinds of ways of health information being stored and transmitted and things like that. So at the end of it, you end up doing hint 597, which is a capstone course in which you produce some kind of project in health informatics. And it's accompanied by, again, a continuation of tuition and guidance and one-on-one meetings with your instructor. Okay. What kind of field projects would you end up doing? There's a bunch of them, and we've picked a few recent ones to to highlight. I'm showing three on the screen. One of them is to, imagine you're working in the health industry, and you might need to not develop, but implement a specific terminology for your organization. And so you might use this course as a stepping stone to do that. So what are the requirements then if you were going to implement a specific terminology? And you might do an entire project on that and come up with a series of requirements and recommendations, therefore, for doing that. You might instead start at the bottom, okay, and identify specifications for a particular new kind of structured data, whether it's a template or things like that. So that would be one of them. You might map your local drug terms, because this often happens where you might have a siloed organization and you come up with your own coding scheme to identify substances in there. But you realize, because you've done this certificate program, that there is the Canadian Clinical Drug Database where this information is standardized for use across the country. So you might work on mapping your terms to the standardized terms, a very common task for interoperability, okay? Once you've done that and implemented it, then now your local system is now interoperable with the CCDD, which is great, okay? You could do a literature review looking at SNOMED CT education for a health organization. SNOMED CT, if you don't know, or you will know if you do this program, is one of the more complicated standards that we've ever come up with as a group of people. It's complicated for a reason, because it represents health information from a medical standpoint, which itself has been described as the most complicated of all human endeavors. So to encode that somehow is not easy to understand. But as you emerge from this program, you'll have a better idea. And you could look at, well, how is this stuff trained for members of staff in your organization, and do a literature review on that. Okay. Another example of a literature review is to evaluate a terminology's impact on the quality of care. I mean, it's great that we have these standards, but if we implement it, will it make our healthcare delivery better? That's a laudable goal, and it ought to be measurable. And so you might look into how that is being done. So these are all the things that that the three courses lead up to. And if you complete those three courses, you'll have a better idea of what you're doing. And don't worry in advance that you have to pick a topic. You don't. You'll probably end up with a specific area of interest by the time you hit that course, and work with your instructor to come up with and narrow your topic so that it's suitable to be done in the time you have. You were here to help you for that. Okay, so that's all the learning part. So why would you do this? How would it help your career? Okay, we've got a couple of points here to go over. I'll do them one at a time, and then we'll have a chance for questions and answers afterwards. So, well, the main reason for doing this course is to earn the Certified Terminology Standards Specialist certificate from the CHIMA CCHIM. Okay, this is in demand by employers. There are more employers that are posting jobs that require the CTSS. This program is how you get that. Once you're in, meaning employed and engaged in this meaningful work, you could work towards implementing standards in health information exchange or electronic health record projects. Okay, really, you become the go-to person for this terminology. So if some comment comes up in a meeting about standards, you will be the person that they go to first, because you've had this training. Okay, you become, in a way, the institutional glue, which is a good position to be in. Okay, being a niche specialist in a niche industry is always sought after. Okay, so three recent initiatives in Canada. This one's kind of past, but you remember that we had this COVID-19 pandemic, and the year before that, we didn't have a COVID-19 pandemic. And suddenly, the emergence of this new disease meant, well, we have to have standards to describe all aspects of it, the symptoms, the treatment, the interventions, and all that stuff needed to be standardized and encoded so that it could be measured, so that we can keep track of what's happening during the pandemic. The response time to implement standards was measured in months. It happened very quickly, where we had SNOMED codes, ICD codes all set up, LOINC codes all set up in order to manage the information generated by all the hospital visits caused by the pandemic. Okay, and so suddenly you had this need, and it was those people trained in standards that were able to respond to it. Okay, so talk about being in the right place at the right time. There is a national pan-Canadian patient summary that is, it's been worked on for a while, but there's a lot of energy and money being poured into this at Ontario Health, Canada Health Infoway, and so on. Okay, and that's being under active development now in organizations in Canada. Okay, and there's the Digital Health Information Exchange Regulation project as well. These are three examples of major standards and interoperability based projects in the healthcare landscape in our country, all of which are, always looking for people to be involved. Okay, so I've got a couple of slides here for recent alums. We've had to anonymize them. This individual has an MSc and works as a management consultant in healthcare. Okay, the UVic certificate of program appealed to them because it offered a deep dive into health terminology standards such as SNOMED and LOINC, and it helped them be the go-to person to bridge the technical people. These are the programmers and software developers who may not have this knowledge, and bridging them to the physicians that need this information to be encoded. Okay, so it's a kind of an interesting position to be in. Okay, so the program helped them because it gave them a complex understanding of the terminology system used in healthcare and the interoperability aspect of it as well. And it introduced them and expanded their knowledge on the FAST healthcare interoperability resource, FHIR, specifically for this person, Smart on FHIR, which is very good as well. We have one more. Probably going to skip this one in lieu of leaving time for more questions as well. But so you might be asking yourself, well, where do I get more information about this? Really, the main point of the source of truth for this, unfortunately, I'm going to show you two, right? Talk about having one source of truth. They're the websites here at UVic. The one major website, this is really your starting point, the UVic one, it's here, uvic.ca, HSD, HINF certificates. That's the main page. From here, you branch off into the professional and graduate stream questions. Okay, and if you're interested in the professional stream, then we have the Division of Continuing Studies has their own site with their own buttons to click to find out more information. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I haven't really described the difference between the two streams very well. So I might do it now. That key piece is the bachelor's degree. If you already have a bachelor's degree, then you are encouraged to join the graduate certificate stream. And if you don't have the bachelor's degree, then you're also encouraged to join the professional stream. Now, it is possible for you to not have a bachelor's degree and join the graduate program, but the particulars of that are quite specific. You need to have 15 years of industrial experience or experience in the healthcare area. And then that would qualify you to join the graduate stream without a baccalaureate degree. And the problem with that we had is that, well, that's a lot. Really, people want to get this kind of certificate done fairly early in their careers so that they can develop and progress in their professional lives. And asking them to wait 15 years before they joined was a little onerous. So to remediate that, we created the professional stream to allow you to come in. And so if you have a couple of years experience in health and you've noticed the word SNOMED and you've seen ICD bandied about, but you want to learn much more about it, then this is the program for you. So we offer you both ways of getting it.
Simon, can I just butt in? Could you also explain how how they could get to Master of Health Informatics if they do this program?
Well, yes, thank you,
Or is
Abdul.
it the right place, or
It is one of the right
apologize?
places. So Abdul Ratsari, thank you, is the graduate advisor for the School of Health Information Science. And he's asking, well, if you do this certificate, does that mean you're going to be able to get into the master's program? I would say it wouldn't hurt your application in order to have this certificate. This isn't designed as a stepping stone to get there, but the more work experience and the more education you have in health information science, then the more compelling your application to the master's program is. Would you like to say a little bit more about that, Abdul, or have I covered that?
I think that's really put in. They have to put a new application in, but
yes,
we will accept some of the credit they take, isn't it?
That's right. Yes. So the benefit of doing the graduate program, which is why I recommend if you have a bachelor's degree that you should go through the graduate program, is because the 4 courses you take are available as course credit should you become a master's degree student at the school. Okay, so you can apply then to, it's a 10-year limit. So if you get the certificate done, then, and within 10 years of that, you decide to enroll and become a master's student, then you can apply to have the 4 courses you took in the certificate program count towards your required courses in the master's program. And that's quite a valuable thing. And I should flip that around as well. And I might say, if any of you on the call are actually master's students in the school, then there is a route for you to also take the certificate at the same time. You'll still have to pay the entry fee, but your tuition for the courses would be covered. You wouldn't have to pay them twice. So, and yeah, so that's another option for you. And if you guys have any further questions on that, then we'll address those in the Q&A time in a couple of minutes. So if you find this compelling and interesting, we have 2 entry points to the program. The first is coming up on June the 1st. So you would apply by June the 1st, pay your fee, fill in the paperwork, and that would be for you to, we would expect you to start in the September cohort. That's September of this year. Okay. The next one that comes up is we do also allow you to enter the program in January and begin with Hint 536. That's the second of the 4 courses. Okay, and the deadline for that one is on October the 1st as well. Okay, so really to learn more, you can reach out to me personally, HTIS coord at uvic.ca. You can reach us there. The school's website again is shown there. It's this email, this web address is repeated everywhere. You can find out more information about the program, all the requirements, how to apply, and fees. And if you get lost and you need more help, that's fine. We're here to help. Please email me and we can get your questions sorted. Any information you might want about the CTSS certification, that's at CHIMA's site itself. You can just search for CHIMA or CCHIM CTSS and you'll get almost immediately to the page. Okay, so that wraps up the presentation portion of this.